then we might get into something a little bit more complicated and fun. But today, what we are going to do is something very quick and simple. So we have this chain, ended up shortening a necklace to make an anklet the other day. And so this is the scrap part that's left over. And what we're gonna do is just add some end tabs, add a lobster clasp, polish the little end and call it good. And then at the same time, just polish these little earrings. If you guys can see, polish those little earrings and then be able to put them back out. So that'll be good. So hopefully we have end tabs that'll work and I don't have to go punch any out, but let's look for that. And then we have another bracelet and a custom thing I have to do, but the custom thing that I have to do is not the funnest. It is making a dermal. So let's see if we have end tabs that'll fit for this. If not, I'll have to grab my punch. All right, so not in here. It's always important to have little bits and ends that you save from jobs, because you never know when you can reuse or repurpose things. In my box, I have some scrap earrings, wire that I've made, a little bit of sheet, sizing stock. So wire, sizing stock, and a little bit of sheet is always important. And then the little tidbits are little extra chains, just in case I didn't make stock or something. Different lobster class that are either broken or still work. Hollow parts of change. So what is going on, TD? Hopefully you're enjoying your day. Also some basket settings from earrings, and you just never know, you know, broken lobster clasp. So it's always good to have a little bit of everything. Some thinner chains from a necklace, so if anyone needs a safety chain on their bracelet, and little jump rings. So that's always important, but we don't have the end caps in there, so let's go to my other box of findings, and we should find something that'll fit in here. All right, let's move these earrings to the side real quick and find a matching set that's big enough and not too big. I think I might be in that zone where things might be a little bit too big. It's a little big. Yeah, I really don't like these flared out end caps. Let me show you what these look like. I don't know why we order these, but they're super flared out at the bottom. They're horrible. They don't fit on really anything. So either gotta grind them. So here's the one that I like, when they're rounded. When they're rounded, that's 1,000 times better, because that'll actually fit on something. But granted, that's still too large for what we need. We might just grind that down, call it good. And then I have super small, so super small isn't isn't the greatest either. And I do not feel like making a new one. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to go about this if you have end caps. So see, this would be the perfect size, actually. This is the size that we're looking for right there. I just don't think I have a matching one. Let's see here. If I do have a matching one, then that'll be really good. Let's triple, quadruple check, try to make our life a little bit easier. See, we have this. It's not quite the same size. Um, so really the goal is just to get something that'll work and then put back out. Oh, I might have lucked out. That one's really, really close to that. You're not going to be able to tell. Okay, cool. So we ended up lucking out. But what I was going to say is there's a couple ways to go about this. We could either solder it on and then grind everything off, or we can grind everything and then solder it on. So to each their own, but this we're going to have to do a little bit of work to get this ready to solder. Alright, so let's put all this back. So this is still in good condition. This isn't a broken one, but it has a little chunk of chain still in there. So what we're gonna do is take that little bit off and get it ready to solder on, and then this one is just ready to go. So let's mix our alcohol, catch this on fire. Since that's on fire, let's do this one too. Just get that ready. And then we're gonna grab our chain, and this just protects from fire scale a little bit, and let's do our chain as well. And then I kind of just wiggle it around a little bit so that way it just doesn't burn up the chain. So all of that is good. Let me turn my tanks on. All right. So on this one, if you guys are using a Smith mini torch, you could go with a 4 or a 5. Either one would work, but I'm gonna use a 4 tip on this one. Doesn't really matter. And this is how I remove the extra little bit off of it, is I grab tweezers on the outside, and then I clamp them down with some lock-in tweezers that are still firm. And then I have my second hand hold those tweezers. And once I do that, let's see, I can't get any lower. Once I do that, then I can come in with other tweezers and either put my finger on here to hold it down and pull everything out, or if it's just liquid enough, usually I just pull it out and call it good. So let's slide our torch. Something hot, not super hot though, because these are end tabs and they can burn. So a nice medium-high heat, and heat it up. Make sure there's a lot of flux on this. And I'm just melting the flux right now. And then, so I'm putting my pinky on the tweezer. I'm not really coming in close with the flame, just letting it get hot from afar. And then, yep, see, it's simple. Sometimes it just happens quickly. I'm gonna melt that solder just a little bit, and it came just right out. So that is a blessing. Sometimes it doesn't work that quick, but now it's totally removed. Dip it in our pickle, our water. We're gonna catch this back on fire with our glazing solution, our alcohol and borax. If you guys want a really cheap way to make your alcohol is just any type of 99% alcohol, rubbing alcohol or whatnot. This is just what I use to hold it, and then a little brush, and it's a glazing solution, and then you just literally get rat poison. So I go to the dollar store and just get a big jar of just roach poison, because it's just all borax. Put the alcohol in there, put a little bit of borax, and you're good to go. Okay. So now with chains, it's very important to make sure you solder these end tabs on the same side, because if you don't do it on the same side, then it's going to get twisted. So pick what side you want to be showing. This has a little bit of a different design. And what is going on, Princess of Yorkshire? Welcome, welcome. So we have a white gold plating on this, and then we have just the side of it. So this is the top, bottom. So we're gonna keep that in mind. And what I usually do is just get one of the end tabs. This might need to be cut just a little bit. And then put it on to where I like it. And I am just repairing a bracelet. So this is probably gonna be just an ankle bracelet. But so I pinch it right where I am, and then with the other finger I pinch just that way and pull it. Now this is a lot easier to see because there's a clear front and back. But on some chains it's really hard to tell. And then just place this on as well too. This one's a little pinched together, so it's open. Let's open this up. And we have it together now. So we have that together. So both of those are on. I have no clue actually what type of chain this is. I'm gonna do alcohol one more time. I have no clue what chain this is. I think it's like a foxtail or something. Ooh, that's hot. That one really got me. All right. There we go, make sure they're straight still. And then all right. There we go. Ooh, that burned my fingertips pretty good. And there's already solder on that. So we shouldn't have to add much, but we're gonna go in with some easy solder. And just cut a couple of chunks. Don't really need much. And this is a hollow style bracelet, so gotta be a little careful. And we're gonna do one more. Sometimes these have a tendency to run up on the actual end tab. And that's never fun, but. So we already picked the tip number 4. And that means we can just go in on this hollow bracelet and not have to switch our tips. So if you solder with a 5, you can technically do this with a 5 tip as well too. But if you stay with the 4, it's just easier to have a lower flame. All right. And then I like to heat the inside of the bracelet up first, then add the flux from the inside of the end tab. Let's do it to both. And that way flux doesn't go on the outside of the end tab. And this, like I said, this already has solder on it, so I'm gonna heat the inside up and get that flowing already, so it doesn't move around on me. And it already flowed, so then I'm just gonna add a little bit of extra solder to the outside. Little extra solder on this one. Melt that solder first. And then add a little bit of solder on the outside of that. Make sure I got it. I think I might have missed on this one. So add a little bit extra just in case. Flip it around. Awesome. All right. And then this end tab wants to be raised up a bit, so I'm gonna squish it down. There we go. Now it's forming to the actual bracelet. Grab a piece of solder and throw it up on this one. There we go. That side is done. And then this might needs to, yeah, I think this needs to be squished as well too. So I'm gonna come in, press these together with my chain nose pliers. Not too hard, but enough just to get it together. See what side wasn't soldered, so yeah, so it's the top side. So let's cut just one more little chunk. There we go. And I'm just using yellow easy for this. Dun, 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 dun. Heat up the inside. There we go. All right, that's soldered. So we are done with that. We're gonna dip it into our pickle, then into the water. And then let's go back into the alcohol because we're gonna add a little jump ring just in case. And this is just extra protection. This is just extra protection. And while that's burning, let's get our lobster clasp. See what size we're gonna use. Ooh, those are kind of big. All right, so we go into, and this is why it's good to have a little selection of everything. All right, got mostly broken ones in here, but sometimes I collect good ones, just like this. And that's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be a perfect size. Okay, so that needs a jump ring. So we're gonna go back into our handy dandy box and find a good jump ring. If not, I'll just coil one up real quick. But I should have, yeah, there's, oh, that's kind of big. Don't wanna add that much gold to it. Let's see, I should have a good one in here. That's a good size. Let's see if I can find a better one. And this is easy. We're gonna use the same style. Let's see. We're gonna use the same style. Let's see. Yeah, there's a little bit of a bigger one. We'll just use what we picked. All right, cool. We're gonna use the same style of clamping it down, and that's gonna be easy. So first, since this is a little dirty, I just want to clean this off. Some alcohol, and then this is what we're going to be soldering, the jump ring. So this is important. Let's light that on fire. Perfect. All right, so this, since we're just putting the bracelet together, it really doesn't matter what side you pick, but we're going to grab our jump ring. Weave that through. Grab our lobster clasp, put that through, and then with our chain nose pliers, I'm gonna grab one side of this, slightly below. Let's see, should focus. There we go. And then I bend it together and then I pull it back so that way it's even. So now it's completely even. And while I'm still holding it, this is a little trick. While I'm still holding it, there's a lot of section right here. So I grab it with my tweezers really tight because you never know the weight. And then when I bring it up to the 45, the solder joint is going to be right on top. So it's just a quick tip because of how I hold it in the forearm, or the second hand. So I already have the tweezers, and that's how I hold it. Then I grab the locking tweezers, and they're nice and stiff. And then I have my second hand hold those tweezers. So everything is ready and perfect. Just makes it a lot quicker and simpler. And I got a little solder right there, so we're just gonna get the torch. And see, we're still on the number 4 little Smith. And get something a little hot. Doesn't have to be crazy. Heat the jump ring up a little bit. Add a little bit of flux. Grab your solder. There we go. Doesn't have to be a lot. And then I like to heat up closer to the tweezers first, because the tweezers are going to soak up most of the heat. And you want it to flow right through that joint. So as the flux gets clear, you can come in, start putting the solder on. It's going to want to start to melt. This might be hard solder, I think it is. So we're going to come in with a little bit of a hotter flame. Ooh, that's going to melt good. And if you don't want the solder to flow to the other side, you can use your solder pick to soak up some of that heat when you come in with a nice hot flame. There we go. Nice, quick, and simple. And that's done. So then just put it in your pickle. Rinse it off with some water. And we have a final product. Now we just have to clean it up and call it good. So that bracelet is almost done. And how I like to clean it, because I have a magnetic tumbler, so that helps out quite a bit. But we're gonna use our rotary tool, and these are just some polishing wheels. They're really good. So this will get a lot of that fire scale off. Careful with your eyes though. And I just lightly go over it. Try to help the polishing machine out, because the polishing machine won't get rid of all the fire scale. But it does make it uniform. Polish the clasp, or I guess sand the clasp. All right. There we go. A little bit more on here. Do what you can by hand, because really the magnetic tumbler is just going to make everything look uniform. Okay. So that looks 1,000 times better. So we're going to put this in the magnetic tumbler, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Polish it, sand it up a little bit, make sure it looks just perfect. Oh, that little section right there. And then it'll be a brand new bracelet. Brand new bracelet. So yeah, good. It's a little bit of a long one though too. What is this, like 9 inches? Yeah, it's 9 inches. So, but that actually works out better, because if someone wants to buy this and they needed it to be a little bit smaller, then we can always take some out. You can't always add extra in. So let me put this into the electric tumbler. And then the last thing is just polish these earrings. So this is actually just real simple. We're just gonna do it by hand. Grab one of these really soft felt wheels. We have green rouge, and then I literally just pinch it, put one thumb to try to prevent it from spinning, and then spin it. And do it on all four sides. Do the top. And the inside base. This is a threaded post, so you don't want to hit the threads. And this was actually white gold. So we're gonna rhodium this back to yellow, or plate this yellow. Alright, so that's done. So it's actually white gold, not yellow. Now let's just do the same to this. And then do the top. Screw this down so we don't hit the threads. And then I pinch the base and just come in here, turn it, and one more time. And then flip it upside down and hit the inside. And then you could also hit the outside just a little bit. Get it all ready. Be real careful with the threads if you're going to touch those. And it's polished, ready to go into the ultrasonic. So we gotta wait for all of that. So I'm gonna put these in, but hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something. And those are some nice little earrings. But you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Laters.